Hello there wrestling fans, this is the first time I'm going to do a questions and answers Q&A. I get a lot of questions via PMs on the wall, etc, 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 etc. This is also a way for me to keep more active. I haven't been that active lately due to I simply have a lot of stuff to do, more than shaving my head. And the first guy who sends me a question actually has a lot of questions. That's McFly Bender 89 here on YouTube. He asked me, which Elimination Chamber match do I think is the better one coming up this very Sunday on pay-per-view? The Raw match or the SmackDown Elimination Chamber match? And well, I think actually I'm looking forward to both of them. I could think that the SmackDown Elimination Chamber is much more interesting due to they have an influx of new talent, but on the other hand that goes for the Raw Chamber as well. Though in the Raw Elimination Chamber match you still have big names like John Cena, you have Triple H, you have Randy Orton, and then along of course Kofi Kingston, who was in last year. That's an interesting entry in the chamber match. And Teddy DiBiase is also he's a new one, and he's very interesting. And we've also got Sheamus, who's actually doing his first Elimination Chamber match, though he walks in as a champion. So while I think both the matches are very interesting, and while both of the matches have new talent in them that are doing their debut inside of the chamber, I still think that the SmackDown chamber match is more open. Yeah, you have The Undertaker, you have Ray as a solid main event guy, but it's kind of small. He could go out pretty quickly. You have Chris Jericho, but you don't know where you have him. You got R-Truth, who's new in there. You got John Morrison, who's new in there. And I don't know if CM Punk is new. I don't remember if he was in the SmackDown Elimination Chamber last year. Or was he even on SmackDown then? No, he was on Raw, I think. Well, so in both matches there are at least two new names. Though, as I said, Raw has the problem that doesn't make that match as interesting as the SmackDown chamber is that they have these huge top names. It's gonna be, I mean, you more or less knows that Triple H, if he doesn't win the chamber, I have said in my predictions video that I think Sheamus will retain. But if Triple H doesn't win it, he will at least last until the final three at least, but I think he's gonna last until the very end of it. So with that said, we'll simply have to see how that unfolds. And now with the Morrison injury, I haven't seen SmackDown yet, but I will do it today, and we'll see what happens there. The rumors have it, and the first thing you thought when you saw Morrison getting injured was Shawn Michaels might take his spot in this match. We'll see how that unfolds, but I think both matches are very interesting. Basically it will be very interesting to see the Raw match, to see if the young guns can stick up with the big ones, because you have this big contrast, and you also see what this is the real litmus test for Sheamus. How good will he go against big guys? SmackDown on the other hand, lots of up-and-comers, and I don't think Undertaker will retain. I think Jericho will win, and that makes for a more interesting match. Another question also by Leb Dog. He asked me, I have to look here because he asked me, do you think any of the following superstars will ever be WWE World Heavyweight Champion? Matt Hardy? No, I don't think he will. He had his chance. He has got a lot of pushes. He was ECW champion, and for me as a champion, I was a big fan of him, but when he became ECW champion, I actually lost interest in him. I didn't find him as attractive and as fun. So no, I don't think, and he got his push earlier this year, well, almost a year ago now against Jeff Hardy. I don't think he will ever go to the top, and he has a bad knee and all that. R-Truth, yeah, asked me 5 months ago, I said no, R-Truth will never be a champion, but see, I said pushed him, and Jericho, the great way that he has worked with R-Truth, I think, I wouldn't say and bet any money against him. Mark Henry, no, he has also got his chances. He was an ECW champion, and he had his peak when he was about to feud with Batista in 2005, and he had his peak now these couple of years, and I think he has had his peak as well. MVP, I doubt it. He has had his chances as well. He might become a mid-card champion again, but he really blew it in 2008, and I think from there on WWE became hesitant in pushing him. Chris Masters, same there. A couple of months ago I said no, but you never know. You never know. He's very over with people now in the crowd, and he's become a face. And I heard people in the IWC actually saying, well, I never thought I would say this, but Chris Masters, I started to grow into the guy. Evan Bourne, no, he's never going to become champion. Carlito, doubt it. He has, just like MVP, there's attitude issues there. Cody Rhodes, he's pretty small, but he's a workhorse. He's very talented for his age, and well, he's got a lineage. So I wouldn't bet against him. Kofi Kingston, likely, but I don't think he will ever become champion. Actually, he's grown too fast with too little experience. Should he become champion, he has to do it pretty soon, because or else he will stagnate, I think. Now, and Finlay, the last one, no, he will not become WWE champion. He's already had his peak in WWE. He made an unexpected comeback in WWE in 2005. He's already had his peak. He's pretty old, almost 50 years old, so no. And he's best at working with the young talent, especially he's worked a lot with the divas in the WWE, so no, he will never become champion. LebDog9, he asked me what I think of ECW going out, and I'm about to watch the last episode of it right now. I think you shouldn't judge WWE. They gave ECW, yeah, it wasn't the original ECW, but whatever. We know that we'll have the discussion thousands of times. It was the ECW, the brand. And with a PG rating, you can't really go that far with the extreme style of it, though I think WWE has done a lot of extreme matches recently and amped the product up. Well, they got almost a 4-year run. That's a good run. It's a lot of memories, actually. There's a lot of history in this ECW 4 years. A lot of times has gone by, a lot of pay-per-views, a lot of shows, a lot of champions, a lot of up-and-comers. And if you look back at it, Morrison, Miz, they were established in ECW. They produced Kofi Kingston there, Jack Swagger, Sheamus. So it really filled a purpose. It was a talent pool. But as of now, the recent death, I don't think ECW has done any favors for Christian. He's just too big for the brand. And they've done the most of the things they could do with Shelton Benjamin there, William Regal, Ezekiel Jackson, and Zack Ryder. They simply had a good purpose with ECW. It wasn't the original ECW, but still they had a good purpose with it. People also ask me about the new pay-per-views, the wildcard pay-per-view. I don't know what that is. Interesting. I made a video about Kill or Keep, the WWE pay-per-views, the new ones, and I said that the list I presented there was subject to change, and it did indeed change. Extreme Rules will not be in May anymore, replacing Judgment Day. It will be in April, replacing Backlash. And what I think of that? Well, a lot of people lashing out because this is the WrestleMania fallout. But I ask you, what better way to have a WrestleMania fallout than to have it in Extreme Rules matches, in hardcore matches? That means that the feuds going into WrestleMania, they will end in a hardcore fashion, and I like that. That's a very good fallout for feuds, and a very good portion of that pay-per-view actually coming as a fallout from a big pay-per-view, not in the middle of nowhere. The wildcard pay-per-view in May sounds very interesting. I wouldn't want to judge anything there. And they had the Money in the Bank, I believe. Was that in June? They're replacing the Bash. The Bash, I don't know really what that was. So I wouldn't want to judge anything. I should watch this again. No, it was the Fatal 4-Way pay-per-view in June. I don't know what that is either. Very interesting. Them replacing the Bash doesn't make me care that much. And then I also reported in my pay-per-view video of 2010 that July still had a pay-per-view to be announced. People speculated, well, Breaking Point might be there since they had moved Night of Champions to September, replacing Breaking Point. They might just swap places, Breaking Point in July, maybe Judgment Day in July. That wasn't to be. Instead it's going to be Money in the Bank. And I guess we won't see a Money in the Bank match at WrestleMania honestly, it was a very good match, interesting match, but I think it's somewhat started to run its course, because last year's Money in the Bank match wasn't as interesting anymore, exciting. They've kind of taken that match to the limit. Maybe we'll see the winner of the Money in the Bank facing the champion at SummerSlam, which will build for new hot talent. I mean, this briefcase thing, it was very interesting. It's been a lot of memories, but everything has its course. And for me, as I said, last year's Money in the Bank match, good. They did new things, but I really don't know what more they can do with it. So maybe it's time to move on. We'll just have to wait and see before we judge. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.